Welcome back, everyone. The final mesh question that we'll be going over, or the final one in this series, is going to be a super mesh question. So super mesh is a little bit different than the regular mesh stuff. For starters, it's super mesh when there are current sources. Okay, so that's the easiest way to identify a super mesh. And sometimes you'll get a voltage source and a current source. And in that case, I mean, you need to know how to apply the super mesh to that portion of the circuit. So maybe we'll do, I don't know, maybe we'll do another question with both a voltage source and a current source. Maybe let me know if you guys might be interested in that. And but for starters, we'll just kind of tackle this one. So the main thing to remember with a super mesh question is we're going to push this up. We're going to open up that circuit right where the current source would be. Okay, so because we have a current source here and a current source over here, we have opened both ends of these circuits, or this circuit, sorry. So we're still putting I1 with clockwise, I2 with clockwise, and I3 with clockwise. However, the difference is that when we evaluate this, we will evaluate I2 as a regular mesh formula, but I1 and I3 will only be evaluated because they are associated with I1. Now, I don't know if that makes sense without putting it into a formula, but that's what we're going to try right now. And I hope you understand what I'm trying to accomplish by telling you this. So rather than starting with I1 the way we would in a regular mesh problem, we'll start with I2, okay? So let's do our polarities the way we normally would. So we have plus, minus, and I think most people are probably familiar with this now. Same here, plus, minus, and plus, minus. Okay, and I apologize, I wish I made the circuit just a little bit bigger. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Actually, that's probably better. Okay, so the first loop that we're actually the only loop we will be evaluating is I2. So we'll evaluate it the way we normally would. We'll have I2 times 4 ohms right here. Okay. We'll have plus I1 times 4 ohms, and this is the only way, this is the only association that I1 has with this formula, okay? Now, we'll continue around the loop. We have minus I2 times 9 ohms. Continue down, minus I2 times 8 ohms, and it's shared with I3, so we'll go plus I3 times 8 ohms, okay, equals 0. And fit that in. Okay, so the only way that these two are included is just when you're formulating that I2 equation, okay? So let's do what we usually do. We have I1, all we have for I1 is 4 ohms, okay? We're just kind of compiling everything right now. So then I2 we have 4, 9, and 8. So what does that give us? That gives us 12, 21. Is that what it is? My math may be wrong. You never know. Then we have plus I3, and the only I3 is 8. Okay. And what else do we have here? That is it. So 0. Okay? So now, this is where it gets interesting. We look back at this circuit, and we look at, okay, I2 was 8 amps, okay? And that's going in the exact same direction as our I3. Yeah, I called that I2, but 8 amps is going in the same direction as our I3 arrows, okay? So you know that this will be positive, but you also know that I3 equals 8, okay? Positive 8 amps. So we can put that right down here. We can put that I3 as 8 amps, Okay? Now we look at 9 amps over here, and 9 amps, and this current source is pointing in the same direction as I1. So we know that I1 equals 9 amps. Now, if this was to point down like this, if that's what the current source is like, you would have that I1 pointing around here, and they'd be going in opposite directions. And because of that, I1 would then equal minus 9 amps, okay? I hope that makes sense to everyone. But that's not the case for this one. They're both positive. So, we know that I1 is 9 amps, so we'll cross that out, put 9. So then we do a little bit of math here, and we have 64, because it's 8 amps times 8 ohms. We still have an I2 times 21, and we have 9 times 4, which is 36, okay? And now what we can do is we can go and rearrange for I2. So we can find what that I2 current is. So we have 64 and 36 on the other side, negative 100. Sorry, this should be I2 times 21 still. And we take that 21 and divide 100 by 21. Okay? So we now have, I'll move this a little bit. We have negative I2 equals negative 100 over 21. So we can get rid of that negative, get rid of that negative. Don't know exactly what that number is. Somewhere around point, whatever it is. I'm not really sure. So I2 equals, I don't have a calculator nearby. Anyways, you guys could do that out though. It's 100 over 21 amps. Okay? And so we now know that I2 is that. I1 is 9 amps. And I3 is 8 amps. Okay? So I hope that makes sense for everyone. I hope it's easy to catch on to. Supermesh seems intimidating because it's different. And I know I had some trouble with it when I first learned it. But then once you learn it, it truly is just as easy as Mesh. So if you guys want another Supermesh question, or if you guys want more Mesh, or if there's anything that you guys want, just let me know. And I know I'm messy, but I appreciate any support I have. So thank you, and I think I'm going to go get something to eat. Bye.